Just be careful. I don't think I can bear to narrate what might happen next.
Darcy, we got a code red. The Avengers Tower's been overtaken.
On Christmas? What is this, Con Air? No, wait, Under Siege? No. Oh, that's not it.
Hey, John McClane, focus!
Hello, and welcome to the Merry Mater Marvel Society, socialites and Marvelites. This is our What If Season 2 review, and we are your reviewers. Davan, Dave.
Hello.
And the D's, of course, are nothing without J's. Jaemeel Robbins.
True.
Salute, friends.
How's it going, everybody?
Hello from the multiverse.
Yep.
Davan, are you just going to sit there or you narrate, or are you going to do something?
Oh, no, I'm just going to sit and narrate, and barely that.
I literally just woke up for this.
Oh, well.
Well, good.
You didn't even watch the episodes.
Oh, I watched the episodes a long time
He's
ago.
been in a coma since they've been released, and that's what he meant by just woke up. Congrats to joining the land of consciousness once again, Jaemeel.
Mm-hmm.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, it's true. So, we're going to talk about 9 episodes here.
Yeah.
In some amount of detail. I don't know how much. It's not only... But, to do that, we have several options here. I might talk about an episode. We might have 1602 with the Grand Master Mater.
Ooh.
Yes. Watch out.
Or we might have the multiple verses of Jaemeel. There's a lot of things that could happen. Or I might even talk about it. If I like the episode, I might have a thing or two to say. Worldmind says we're at it early, but we're
3 p.m. is early.
So early. I don't know.
It's 4 p.m. We're 10 p.m.
Well, 4 p.m. too.
Well, should we? Any opening thoughts from you guys before we jump into the episodes?
Like I think the first season was stronger. But I enjoyed this season. I think there was some interesting choices along the way, and I'm kind of curious on how this will keep going, if it does at all. So yeah, I was along for the ride, though, for the most part. Some of these episodes worked better for me than others, though, overall.
I felt that it wasn't stronger than last season, or weaker. I think it just felt the same, which is the ultimately one of the problems I have with What If. The comic book, when you open it up, felt like its own self-contained story. Now, there were occasional stories that did continue on or had a sequel to something, but at the very least, it felt different from issue to issue. Mm-hmm. Whereas this season and the first season could have been one season for the most part, and there wouldn't have been any type of difference for people. People were like, "Oh, yeah, this is one season." If you put all of them back to back, there's a sameness, right? For a lot of the things. And I think if this project, What If, is going to continue on, they need to start getting into the what if and not the, well, here is the small amount of people that we're going to work with in terms of stories, and just keep working in that ecosystem. There needs to be an expansion of bounds. It's supposed to cross over and be bigger than what it currently is.
Yeah, I don't totally disagree. I think that more of these, like what I loved also about the original comic books, were that they were self-contained stories, that they can go anywhere, that, your hero or whatever could sort of end up the villain. And I think that they do that in the series, this television series a bit, but I think that they're like, no, but it crosses over, and there's ultimately going to be a big battle, and all of these stories are always connected, and I don't need them always to be connected. I think that they could have a little bit more freedom if it's just like a one-off, kind of like the Outer Limits, and that's really what this intro sequence always kind of reminds me of when it comes up in the show, is when it's Jeffrey, right?
Right.
Is that who's doing the time, space, come with me through the ultimate multiverse. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's like Outer Limits style, a Twilight Zone kind of style. And then by the end, it's like, but it's the Guardians of the Multiverse, and we gotta like get the team together. And so I guess I'm less enthused with that.
I agree.
Davan, quick question.
Mhm.
Do you feel that this series, outside of X-Men, because we know the reason why X-Men are not being involved, but do you feel that this series is able to touch any single part of the MCU in terms of mining for content? Because what I feel is they're sacred cows that they just don't touch.
Well, for me, it's more like they're having fun jumping through the past movies.
Yeah.
That like rather than trying to explore new concepts and mine deeper into the Marvel content, as you suggest. It's just more about like, hey, what would happen if this happened in Iron Man 2? Or like what happened? Like it's that sort of thing. And it's not quite in the spirit of What If is the comics as far as like I think this show would be more accurately called Guardians of the Multiverse because that's what it's about. Like,
Yeah,
right.
It feels like that. At least these first 2 seasons.
I got another thought.
Well, that's the last of it. It was canceled, was it not? Or was it canceled after the 3rd season? But I heard
is anything truly canceled? It's when
I don't know.
Yeah,
but I think if they brought it back, they should embrace the more What If style. Like where it got crazy. It's like what if Aunt May became the Herald of Galactus? Like all kinds of crazy stuff used to happen in those.
Yeah.
That's
what this series for me should be more so, less of this I guess longer narrative. The other thought I do have with it is that because in our Star Trek channel, Live Long and podcast, we love to do Star Trek radio theater, right? Where we'll kind of go through and we'll read the scripts and we'll, reenact some of these stories. And this show kind of reminds me of our Star Trek radio theater if it was animated, because like, yes, it's like Chris Hemsworth doing Thor or whatever, but it doesn't like if you actually shot this as a movie, any of these stories, they wouldn't make the same choices as the actors, right? Like but because they're laying down this voice work, right? And so it's Benedict Cumberbatch doing Stephen Strange.
Sometimes it isn't though. Like it's not Scarlett Johansson doing Black Widow,
right?
It's Lake Bell.
That was my other thought too, is that sometimes like mostly it's the original actor from the MCU films reprising their role, with the exception of Iron Man, Captain America, and Black Widow, right? I think those are the big 3, and those 3 also don't resemble their on-screen versions because I guess they don't have the likeness rights to use like Robert Downey Jr. So they have this kind of generic looking Tony Stark, who I don't know if he resembles the guy doing the new voice, who I think
it's like comic book Tony.
It's like more comic book Tony. So it's almost like it's almost like the mixing of those things kind of throws me off, and just like tonally, like the way that these scenes play out, like, I guess Anthony Hopkins wasn't back to do Odin here, right? It was
which makes sense. Why are you gonna? Hey, Anthony Hopkins, we don't have anything for you right now, but you could do some like voice over, from
Here's
your
$45 million.
Well, I get it, but like I guess but having most of the actors back, kind of, you really feel the absence of these few others when they're in the stories for me, and just the way that like the animation plays out, the way the performance kind of comes together, it's kind of just bizarre in some cases,
I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the voice acting is done via ADR, whereas these actors are like doing their previous movies, and they're like during their ADR session is like, hey, so let's lay down a couple of these lines. It's for this animated project. It seems that amount of passion was put into it. Like they're doing something else, and it's like, in addition to here's a script, just kind of do 2 read-throughs of it, and we'll be good. Right?
I get you, maybe, yeah. Like I don't really know what the process is, but when you come into all these episodes, one of the most impressive things is that you see all the names. You see like Benedict Cumberbatch and whoever, right? Like they all pop up, and then a few other names you don't know because these are the voice actors filling in for other people, like Robert.
Hey, Lake
Jr.
Bell is from Boston Legal, which is a great
Lake Bell,
isn't it? She plays Black Widow.
Oh, Black Widow, and they all do a good job. But because they are definitively not those original actors, and the animation is definitely not them. It just like, I don't know. It just I feel like we kind of got a mixed salad here, and it's just kind of off.
So Murphy tells us season 3 is coming, and it has
we are
a
getting
different
season
writer,
3,
show director. So if that means it's going to go back to the more what if style, or I shouldn't say go back to, but kind of embrace that what if style more. That'd be great. Not that it was bad, and it looks beautiful. Let's just say that it looks beautiful.
I would say my issue is that they have a single writer and director, or I guess showrunner. I want it to be an anthology. So hey, Edgar Wright, you didn't get to do an Ant-Man. I want to see what your Ant-Man is, or we branch it to different, talent and see what their story's about. Martin Scorsese. You want cinema? Let's see you make a cinema using Marvel characters in a different scenario. You put whatever scenario you want. Let's do that. Let's get these different voices that are never going to be involved in MCU. Martin Scorsese is never going to make
and character-wise too. Like,
right?
Like it's cool how they used Howard the Duck because he's never going to really be in a.
Yeah, they're never going to make a Howard the Duck thing. It isn't practical at all.
Yeah, I think they do. Like there's 3 or 4 writers who are kind of on every episode, and then there's kind of only a handful of directors. So like kind of do have a small creative team here, but
you know, it would have been nice though if they really made it a visual anthology as well. Like they brought in a bunch of different animation directors.
Yeah,
each episode had a different visual style and that.
Like the Animatrix.
Yeah,
or Star Wars Visionaries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
Or even Into the Spider-Verse, right? Which was not an anthology, but had all those different animation styles kind of coming together, right?
Let's have a Lego episode.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to go.
All right. Well, then on that note, I think we can probably get into the 9 stories, right? Is it 9?
Oh, likely so. There is 9. Yep.
Do we?
So,
do we need to?
What if Nebula joined the Nova Corps? Now, you know what? I'll start us off here because I like this one. So
it's the best episode. I'm sorry. What?
Yeah. It probably is. It's probably my favorite. So what if Nebula joined the Nova Corps? So she's killing this character. Like when the MCU started off, if they were like, what's a character that's going to be a nice kind of through line through the MCU, but also kind of grow and keep, upping their role, you wouldn't have thought Nebula, and I wouldn't have wanted that. It wouldn't be like, no, let's spend all this time with Nebula. But I want more time with Nebula. I love Karen Gillan's portrayal of her. The way she's just like her delivery of just being so out of patience all the time. Like that.
Yeah. It's a quiet irritation.
Yeah, it's like a quiet irritation and boredom, kind of. But that conversation she has with Howard the Duck is hilarious.
Yeah.
It was fun to see Howard in kind of a bigger role. But yeah, like she's just like, I thought you were a cop. You like maybe you should do some detective work. She's like, that's why I'm asking you a question. Like
they did get Jude Law back for this too, right? To do Yanrog.
Yeah, I just don't care about Yanrog. Like that didn't do anything for me. But
he probably did over a telephone. That's how important his role was in this episode. Just to continue on with the praise for Karen Gillan, she is great. And I think it's going to be something that people are going to look back on and really appreciate how diverse of a career she's had. Because when you look at the different roles, someone of her ilk, her nature, could easily have fallen into the PYT Megan Fox type of thing where it's all about looks, but she's really embraced these different roles and really put her stamp down on these performances and these characters and these movies. Whereas you can't think of Guardians without Nebula's inclusion at all.
Even the Avengers now, like her role in Endgame, I thought was really cool. And how they used her there. And Karen Gillan, like I'm a big fan of her from Doctor Who. She was the companion of the Matt Smith 11th Doctor. Apparently, she'd only done like maybe 2 little projects before that. She auditioned and she got it. And like she was a great actor on that show, having not a lot of experience before. and then she went off to do this after, pretty much. And I think she's in the Jumanji movies and a couple other roles, but she is a talented actress. And Nebula's so far from her original Amy Pond character on Doctor Who, like couldn't be more different in every way, so it's
just justice for Selfie. For those who don't know, she was in a great sitcom called Selfie with John Cho, and it was unjustly canceled. So people who still appreciate it, we still hold the banner, justice for Selfie.
Justice for Selfie.
Well, so this one starts off with the coolest setting in the whole season too, which is like Xandar completely shielded off, self-inflicted because Ronan's coming after them, but like they're completely blocking off Xandar for 5 years, and then it'll open or something. No, it's way longer than that. But they're like 5 years in or something.
Yeah, a Ronan that dispatched of Thanos.
Yeah,
Ronan,
right?
Serious Ronan. So that's a cool setting, and having her a member of the Nova Corps, kind of conscripted by Nova Prime, but we come to find out for nefarious means because she just wanted an attack dog that was loyal to her. Because Nova Prime is working with Ronan. So that big twist at the end. And that was cool. Can I use Nova Prime for a bit something more? I assume that wasn't Glenn Close, but maybe it was.
Maybe what's Glenn Close been up to?
Yeah, I don't know.
So I pretty much saw the cipher twist coming up when I was watching it. Doesn't necessarily mean it was bad. It was everything was still well put together, that even though I could kind of telegraph, it was still an interesting ride to get there. So absolutely loved this episode. I loved the setting. I loved how it looked.
Howard's Bar.
Howard's Bar is great. The single use of Korg that I enjoyed this season.
Did he had used in 2 of these stories, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
I know lots of things.
Yeah, he was fun. I like Taika Waititi as this character quite a bit, and how he interacts. And I didn't really love that last Thor movie very much at all, but I think he's always fun. And some of seeing these interactions, right, is good too. Little fun fact too, guys: the voice of Groot and Drax was done by Fred Tachiore from Star Trek Lower Decks.
Thank the prophets.
Sure.
Yes. Yeah. I did see him. He's usually there. Same thing with Cree Summers, which people might know Cree Summers from A Different World. She's usually a regular that usually pops up in a lot of Marvel projects as of late for voice acting.
But I will say that this was my least favorite of the 9 episodes, probably.
Oh, wow. So we're coming at these from very different perspectives, you and I and Dave there, Jaemeel.
Well,
hey, Jaemeel, I have a question for you. Do you believe that Dr. Jones, it's time for him to wake up now?
It is time. Okay. Wake up now.
All right. But yeah, what's going on, Dave? What are you talking about? This is easily the best one.
Easily the best one? I don't know. I guess I wasn't. I was less interested in the Nova Corps maybe aspect of it. I don't know. There's just.
Do you like Blade Runner?
Do I like Blade Runner? Not. I actually didn't even see it until I met Jane. Oh, wow. She made me watch it. So
points for Jane.
I wouldn't say it's I thought it was fine. But I don't have any deep appreciation for Blade Runner, really.
Yeah,
so.
Well, I'll be interested to see that. Rather than rank these out of 10, fellas, we're gonna just off the top of our heads try to rank them as where they go in our favorites this season as we go. You think you can do it? So this is your least favorite, Dave.
I'm interested
number 9.
It's towards the bottom. Yeah, it's towards the bottom for me.
Well, pick a number. We're gonna just shoot off the top of our heads. We're gonna try to rank them as we go. We can always change our picks.
It's 8th.
Okay, 8. Okay. Jaemeel, where's this one go for you?
This is 1 with a bullet.
Yeah, it's 1 for me too. Interesting. I'm gonna see which one Dave's favorite is. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, please don't tell us until it comes up.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure,
exactly.
I won't.
It's gonna be a great mystery. I'm excited. So Number 2, what if Peter Quill attacked Earth's mightiest heroes? Who's going to talk about this one? Jaemeel is.
Oh Lord.
So it's going to be multiple verses of Jaemeel here.
Okay, this one is obviously we're in a different world where you have what the SSR has put together.
Oh, did I show this image? The Nebula image? That was cool.
That was cool.
Okay.
In this case, was it Yondu takes Peter Quill straight to Ego, so they team up early and they start their expansion across the universe. He returns to Earth, and then the SSR. I think they have a different name in this at the beginning, but Peggy Carter's there with Howard Stark, and was it John Foster or what's
Bill Foster.
Bill Foster, and they have to respond to this great threat. So they get King T'Chaka. They get Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier. They get Hank Pym as well to kind of make an Avengers-esque team to try to contain Peter Quill, who for the most part handles them throughout their first encounter. And it really is the connection of a young Hope Van Dyne that connects with Peter Quill that allows him to kind of see his humanity and turn on Ego, who attacks the Earth and faces off against the SSR Avengers, and they rule the day.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this one. This one's in the upper half for me, for sure.
I think they could have called this one "What if the Avengers assembled in 1988" or something.
Yeah.
Like different Avengers, I guess, or the 80s Avengers. Yeah, like this one was good for me. I enjoyed this one quite a bit.
It was funny. Hank Pym was quite funny, especially.
Yes.
Hank Pym. I liked the connection there with Peter Quill and Hope Van Dyne. I thought that was interesting choice to have the young versions of them meeting at that time and sort of how they played into the story. This was my favorite of the 9 stories.
Oh wow!
Okay.
I had a feeling.
Okay.
I had a feeling.
So you said don't tell us till we get to it. Well, we're here.
Right,
So
here we are.
I knew once I said it, I'm like, it's probably the next one.
And I'm moving up the Nebula Nova Corps one. I just did my little ranking, and it's 7th, I'd say. So not 8, 7.
All right. So I like this one quite a bit. I liked the selection of characters that existed for them to choose from around that time. It was fun seeing T'Chaka. I loved seeing Bill Foster. He was quite funny.
That was interesting. Yeah, like to bring him into
Fishburne.
it. I was like, Lawrence Fishburne, who's he? Oh yeah, he's Bill Foster. I forgot.
And the way he was using his Goliath powers was really cool too.
Yeah, and like the Goliath and Ant-Man as a team, right? Like
and of course Thor and who else did we have there?
We had Black Panther, but the old
T'Chaka there. Oh, of course Peggy and what's her name?
Wendy.
Lady.
Marvel.
Yeah, who was she? That was the most confusing.
She was the older lady from Captain Marvel 1. Her like
Doctor
officer sort of thing.
Her name was Dr. Wendy Lawson.
Oh, Wendy Lawson. Yeah.
Wendy Lawson. Like
so she's Annette Bening in
Annette Bening?
Your favorite actress.
In Captain Marvel. She was the one that worked with Carol
and Monica.
With Carol, with the project, like got her involved in the project. And then
the real Annette Bening before like the AI used her appearance.
Supreme Intelligence.
Supreme Intelligence used
pretended
her
to be her.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. I had forgotten who this character was. Okay.
Yeah, so that was a cool team. I enjoyed that. I mean, how powerful Peter was and became was a bit crazy. But my favorite part about the episode was the fight with Ego. That was actually quite fun because that's one of the things they should be using this show for. Things that would be very expensive in CGI, like do some crazy comic book stuff in these. Like that's the whole point of having this animated outlet for this stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But, so
I
that's what
thought
would
Kurt
say
Russell
about that.
was good again, you know, as this ego character. I like, you know.
Oh, okay. Here's my nitpick.
Ooh,
My logic nitpick for this episode. Ego is a celestial. This is like 40 years earlier or 30 years earlier. Why is he younger? Why is he like look 20 years younger? Ego. Why?
Oh,
he's a celestial being.
well, he can make himself look like whatever he wants, I guess. So, you know, why
is
did
he trying to look younger for? Or like, why is he trying to look older for Peter to like be more fatherly later? Like, it's just weird. Like, why? I should have had him look the exact same, I think.
Well, I guess in Guardians 2, when he shows himself as this older man, like, why did he choose that appearance at that time?
Yeah.
I guess to make himself feel like he could be Peter's father. So he just didn't accelerate that aging as far because he doesn't need to be the older Kurt Russell we saw in Guardians 2. He can be slightly closer to the one that dated his mom. So,
right, the one that dated his mom. Never mind. That's the.
It's weird that he thought that through so
Yeah.
intently, but yeah,
that expositional conversation to kind of explain this whole scenario, understandably, would have been cut. But yeah, and by the time that, keep in mind how old Peter is in comparison to how old Peter is later on in Guardians 2. How long he's been searching. He didn't have to search as long as he did in, Guardians 2.
Yeah, right. It's a different timeline, but his mom was still dead, and he, still reacts pretty much the
She's
same.
dead.
Right? So,
all right, let's rank this one. Dave's number 1. Jaemeel, where are you slotting this one in?
Number 5.
I am gonna put this at number 4.
Ooh.
All right, so moving on to the next one. What if Happy Hogan saved Christmas? Go for it, Dave.
well, in this one, the Avengers are having a holiday party at the Avengers Tower. I'm not exactly sure when this story is supposed to be taking place. I guess sometime recently, but before Darcy went to university and got her doctorates, and
Before they sold the building, before Darcy went to university. So what after
before the
after
snap,
Thor 2,
after Thor 2, but before
Civil War.
Before Civil War. Okay. So it's on Christmas Eve. They're getting ready for this party. Happy Hogan's pulling it together at Avengers Tower. Darcy from Thor, the Thor franchise, and I guess also the WandaVision, she's there as well. Maria Hill shows up in this episode. Justin Hammer comes in, the villain from Iron Man 2.
He's the best part of the episode.
Yeah, I think he is. He's because he's the most consistent with his original character, I find. And then so he's trying to steal the Hulk blood from the tower on Christmas Eve because he's the Grinch trying to steal Christmas. But he gets to it first and he gets the Hulk blood, but he turns into the Freak, this like not quite a Hulk character, but sort of like a purple version.
That's from the comics. He turns into Freak. Yeah.
Is this a Happy Hogan? Is this the real thing?
Yeah.
Okay. And so Justin Hammer takes over the Iron Man robots and the Iron Legion, and there's a big battle that takes place, and I don't know, like by the end
a snoozer.
I
agree with Murphy. This is number 9 for me.
This was the worst episode for me too. I didn't like this one.
I don't even care about Die Hard, so there wasn't any nostalgia there for me. Like,
this was number 2, friends. This was number 2 for me.
Your number 2?
You like this one?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Darcy,
nothing
Die Hard, Justin Hammer. Like
what could be better? This is an amazing cocktail.
Oh I got Justin Hammer dancing in this. Thugs which try to leave as quickly as possible. Things turn bad and turn on the main villain. Love it. Love this episode.
Okay, it was kind of I guess with this show coming out around Christmas time, it wasn't the worst idea to have a Christmas episode. I was just like, I guess I never needed this from Happy Hogan or any of this, but the Werner like AI, which was kind of like a Jarvis type of thing, but it was like Werner Herzog. It was like all existential and sort of. I was like, that joke didn't really land for me.
As a Venture Brothers fan, I loved it.
Okay, oh yeah, so the finale of this was like a fight between the Justin Hammer and the Hulkbuster armor against the Freak, which I found underwhelming compared to what we got in Avengers Age of Ultron, between those the Hulk and Tony Stark Iron Man. So I don't know, like, yeah, this was
where the season starts to lose me too, and where you can sort of tell it's just one writer.
Third episode?
Yeah, well, kind of, yes, because the first two felt more like what ifs. Like, certainly the first episode, like, that was just sort of nowhere, this blocked off Xandar thing. That was kind of cool. But the rest of it now is just like, you can tell it's almost like the same person trying to do homages to different film styles or movies they like. Like, we get a Death Race 2000 thing later. We get like the Die Hard nod here. We get like even the Blade Runner thing with Nebula. It's just this season really starts to feel like specific homages rather than being more Marvel universe focused. I find.
Yeah, this one
just that almost kind of feels like kind of lazy to me. Like, anyone could have just did like 9 movie homages.
Well, this one was the most, like, when I was talking earlier about like, what if our little radio theater script reads was then animated, and would it really work? And this is what, like, I was like, the dialogue between Darcy and Happy was campy and cheesy and unnatural.
Something seemed odd about Happy the whole time.
It's apparently Jon Favreau, but it doesn't seem like Jon Favreau.
No, it doesn't.
Jon Favreau over a cell phone.
Yeah, it has this sort of like, I guess because it's a Christmas thing, it feels like a little not quite grounded enough or something. I don't know, but it's just a weird story to me. So,
Davan, did you like this better than the Guardians holiday special? Yes or no?
This episode better than the Guardians holiday special? Oh yeah.
You like this episode better?
Yeah.
I like the Guardians. You guys hated the Guardians holiday special.
I didn't hate it. I don't think my rating reflected in me hating it. You could look up the tape. I didn't.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah.
You gave it a 6. Okay, so you didn't hate it.
Yeah, come on.
He hated it. He gave it 1.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, like, to me, like, all the internet's complaints about the MCU dying are mostly just describing that Christmas special. Like, all those complaints are just kind of talking about that. Not good, but I don't know.
Well, maybe.
Well, let's move on then. We already know everyone's rating for this one. Let's do a little snake draft. Let's go back to Dave for Iron Man crashed into the Grandmaster from Grandmaster Mater.
Was that the next episode? Okay.
Yep. Number 4, Iron Man crashed into the
Grandmaster. Okay, so this one was kind of an interesting one. Because at the end of Avengers 1, like Tony Stark, he pulls that nuclear weapon up into the portal that Thanos had opened in the Shatari, and in the original movie, he gets through the portal just in time, and he falls down to Earth, and then Hulk wakes him up by yelling at him, if you recall. But and then they go get shawarma. But in this version, the portal closes and Tony Stark is trapped in the in space and everything else. And I was like, okay, this is an interesting concept. Like, I do like this idea. But then he ends up on what's that planet called where the Grandmaster is? I don't even know.
That's, Planet Hulk.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, what if you threw Tony Stark into Thor Ragnarok, or at least a part of Thor Ragnarok, which of course had Valkyrie and some of those elements and those characters,
but no Beta Ray Bill.
Yeah,
no Beta Ray Bill already. God damn it!
Felt cheated.
But Korg was there again. And so Iron Man, like, I don't know, we got a lot of like Jeff Goldblum, it depends on how you feel about Thor Ragnarok. If you like that Jeff Goldblum Grandmaster character and whatever, I think that this would be great. But man, this was a weird pairing for me. Just how these two characters were bouncing off, because the Grandmaster
Death Race, it's okay. As soon as it got to the Death Race 2000, I just checked right out of the episode, man.
Yeah.
I don't know
So
about you guys. How do
Okay,
you guys feel about the big race?
Okay,
there was a big
wait.
race.
Were you guys on the edge of your seat during the big race?
No, not really.
No.
Like
This episode felt like the complaints people had about the MCU being too much comedy, because like
Mhm.
Grandmaster works like opposite Thor, because Thor isn't like trying to be quippy at all.
Well,
He isn't he has quips, but he isn't quippy, right? He's not necessarily like making the pun or joke. He's like, who's the strongest Avenger? It's like me, obviously, world's strongest Avenger. It's like, no, it's not him. Like he's the butt of the joke, or the joke comes with him, right? Not, he's gonna say something clever or witty back. Like Tony Stark bouncing off of Grandmaster is just it was tiring. It was tiring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't forget, Gamora shows up in this story, not voiced by Zoe Saldana, by somebody
That
else.
might be Lake Bell too.
It might be. I can check. Who did her? Cynthia McWilliams. I'm not familiar, but again, like one of these other ones, I'm like, well, it's kind of like a mixed salad, like I've been talking about. So she shows up, and she's here, sent by Thanos to kill Stark as retaliation for what happened in the Shatari stuff. Okay. I think it would have been more interesting to have Gamora here, or sorry, not Gamora. Nebula. Yeah, Nebula. But anyway,
too much. I think they didn't want to pair Nebula and Tony again.
Yeah, I guess because they do meet later in the main storyline. So I basically Tony kind of appeals to Gamora over this episode, and they eventually they defeat the Grandmaster together, and then they kind of turn the tides on Thanos at the end, where it's so Gamora and Tony Stark defeat Thanos before he could ever do the snap and all that stuff. I think that was like this. Oh, and Grandmaster, yeah, he melted into a puddle. I think that was like the main beats of the story. If I missed anything, let me know.
Yeah, there's not much here. I mean, there really wasn't. This is number 8.
A lot of topaz in this episode.
Murphy's right. Hawkeye was the better Christmas special than Guardians. He's also right. This is kind of like Red Line, and that's why it's not good.
Yeah, Topaz this was not a character we had met before, right?
Yes, we did.
It is. Topaz is in Ragnarok, and Topaz is actually kind of funny.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. I didn't remember Topaz.
She's the one with the melty stick all the time.
Oh, okay. Like so I like the concept here and where but I don't know if this execution really worked for me so well. Jeff Goldblum, this character, man, okay, like is so friggin' weird. And
that's what they're going for.
And like it's just even when he was like he's like a villain, but he's not. He's almost like this kind of
he's an elder of the universe, so they just kind of do this one thing and they're sort of obsessed with it, and they just kind of like do that. And his is just sort of like manipulating.
Yeah, he's not good or bad. He just is type of
he just likes to use people as chess pieces, and that's his thing. But
that's why he's the Grandmaster, and he's the brother of Benicio del Toro's character, isn't he?
The Collector.
Yeah, he's another elder of the universe.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Like this one was okay, but I'd say where did I put it? I put it in the middle in my case. No, it's actually 8th. I put it towards the bottom.
It's 8 for me as well. So we agree.
Yeah.
Jaemeel?
7 or 8. 7 or 8.
All right. Well, tell us about Captain Carter fought the Hydra Stomper.
Okay, so it's a continuation of the first season episode where Captain Carter is brought into this reality, or not reality. She's brought to the present, where she gets to what's the Limerick Star boat, where the Hydra Stomper, which is the Steve Rogers Iron Man type of suit from a previous episode. He's there. He's the sub-in for the Winter Soldier in this type of universe, where Hydra has brainwashed him and taken over the suit for their own nefarious means. What we later, Captain Carter tries to get to him and capture him with the help of this universe's Black Widow. Eventually, it is learned that the the Red Room has actually taken over Steve Rogers and Hydra Stomper and is using this as a ploy to get Captain Carter in their grasp and make her into a widow. Eventually, she does get to Steve, and Steve, in a moment of clarity, sacrifices himself to destroy the Red Room. And Captain Carter says that she will find him. It's their Captain America Winter Soldier type of movie,
like
but it's
in this
Black Widow.
right in this story, Steve Rogers is kind of taking on the Winter Soldier identity, I guess, as being sort of the friend they lost to the other side, who became programmed to become this killing machine. Whereas Bucky Barnes, I guess, has assumed the Carter role, and being the older statesman and sort of somebody who, whatever. And Captain and Carter is in the Captain America role, right?
Yeah.
So they've all kind of switched positions. This episode worked okay for me. I thought that some of the emotional beats between Captain Carter and Steve Rogers were good. I thought that there was some strong emotion there, but the stuff, I guess, tying it in with the widow and like the Red Room and like some of this was less interesting to me. So I was kind of in a mixed bag. But
yeah, I did not need to see the Winter Soldier and Black Widow played out again as a amalgam.
Right, it's kind of what it was. It was like, what if we took both of these things and mashed them together and spun it all around?
I didn't need it. It felt like the sequelist sequel they could possibly do, where it's like, let's make a sequel of a What If episode, right? Yeah. And not even a conclusion, a finale like the last season's, Guardians of the Multiverse was, like a sequel to a story, and then we'll theme it after two of our movies, like pay homage to our own two movies. It's just like a lot of ancestral thinking. It's just, no, I was not a fan. Like, I like elements of it, but the idea, concept, and execution just all fall flat.
I'll put this one at number 7.
7 for you. Yeah. Like, it's okay, but it's like sort of also pointless in some respects. I feel like it's just there to set up that Captain Carter had to go into this other storyline and get sucked into this portal by the end. And that's really why the episode exists, I guess. But and I think credit to Haley Atwell and to whoever does Steve Rogers in this version. Because I think that their beats and their scenes together were good. And it's okay, like, but it could be better, or not even done at all, and do something else, do some other What If story, not instead of coming back to the same characters again. So
yep, not great. All right, let's move on. Where are you guys going to rank this one?
I'm putting this at number 6.
I think I'm going to make this number 7 and the previous one number 8. I might shuffle it along. Let's not do Snake Draft because I don't want to do the next one, please.
I want to do the next one.
All right, all yours.
I actually love this episode. This is my number 2. This is What If Kahori Reshaped the World. I just liked this character. It's something a little different, which is what I wanted of these What Ifs. It's not just rehashing the same stuff. And I like that they're creating new characters here in this What If, which is interesting. Now, I think they'll put her in the MCU. I mean, my theory for why they're doing this whole Guardians of the Multiverse double season kind of arc is they're going to bring them into the Secret Wars movie. I think the Guardians of the Multiverse will show up, and that'll be our introduction to Kahori, and we'll see. But that's my theory.
Who is this a character from the comic books, or this is invented for the show entirely?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which isn't necessary. There is a track record of that being a good idea for a lot of companies. Like Harley Quinn is not a comic book character. It is an animated character that eventually crossed over to comic books. Mm-hmm. And look how popular that character has become.
Right.
Felicity Smoke, was original character, I think. And your mileage may vary in terms of your opinions about Felicity Smoke.
Sure. This was a interesting one because it was very new and different, and so I guess I liked it. But I was like, who the hell is Kahori? And like, what is this I'm getting into? But on the other hand, like compared to the one we just talked about, the Hydra Stomper story, like which felt like just a rehash and kind of what's the point of this? This was new and interesting and different and sort of very off brand for them for the show. Basically the what if is like, what if like colonialism never happened or was thwarted by things like that. Like
if it was a what if, it would have been called what if the Tesseract fell to Earth, I think, because that's what causes everything. Like
that's what it is, right?
Destroyed, and the Tesseract falls to Earth, and then it contaminates this water source, and that's what gives those people that find that water source those powers.
I just thought
it was a really cool origin. Is she Mohawk? I wasn't sure.
I think so. And
they,
I feel
they
like
do say
most of this episode is in
Mohawk.
Mohawk or Spanish. Most of it is not even English, which was also different. A lot of subtitles.
Poor people who don't like subtitles.
I liked it. Cool origin, cool powers, cool look, cool addition to the world of it. The Marvel. I dig it. I dug it a lot. Number 2. What about you? What say you guys? But anyway, so Kahori gets powers. She finds that like a lot of her people historically have found the same water source, and they sort of transcend into this place that it's basically a paradise, so they all stay there. But Kahori's just like the first one of them who's just like, why don't we not stay here and go help our people? So she's like kind of like the hero who gives up paradise to be a hero.
Right. Yeah, they don't want to go with her because they're not warlike, but she's like, you guys can be down here and have all this fun, but your people are suffering. Like it's I think it was a very emotional story for these writers. I think that it's an interesting take. I don't know. I guess the part of me was like, why is this in this particular show? Like why in this what if, which is all about characters usually we know or storylines we know, give us this. Now it ends up making sense by the time we get to the finale, but it felt, I was like, when it was over and then we went into the next one, which I'm trying to even remember what it was. I guess it was the Hela story. I was like, okay, well, I guess that's just a setup episode, right? That's what that purpose of that was.
Yeah. This should be what if more is. What if should be more as opposed to what we usually get.
Yeah.
We get different concepts altogether, that like, you literally change a point of which something interacts with the universe, and that's the story we're following. Tesseract falls here. This is what happens.
This basically creates like the 1602 universe, right? That's what her universe is. No, this is not the same, because I that was what I kind of took from it. Was like, okay, I guess this is the 1602 timeline where they don't colonize America, and like it's a different storyline. But maybe I misinterpreted that. Davan's, you're muted.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case. I think 1602 is always kind of been its own thing.
Separate thing.
Yeah.
But that reminds me of that 1602 one. I might have to shuffle some things. But this one, I liked it a lot. It was fun watching her and her people like kick the shit out of the colonizers. That was fun. So I just enjoyed
when they burned all the ships. I was like, all right.
Burn the boats.
Man, that sun is.
All right. So rank number 2 for me. What about you guys?
It's at number 4 for me.
4, I think. I think I've lost track already.
Yeah, me too.
If we have things, but it's in the upper part. Next one.
We'll go back to Jaemeel then for this one.
Yeah, this is number. I decided to
number
move,
7.
I decided to move my Christmas episode to number 3 because this is number 2. What if Hela found the 10 rings?
Yeah, this is a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one. So, in this episode, Odin banishes Hela instead of to Hel, Hel.
This could have been a title of a what if comic too, really.
Yeah. Banishes her to Earth in similar respects of how he banished Thor.
Right. What if he had actually parented Hela instead of just locking her in her room? I guess for a million years.
He learned his lesson with Hela, and that's why he took that different approach with Thor.
Right, but what if he had had the thought in the first place? I guess is kind of what the what if is, right? So yeah.
So she loses her powers and is sent to ancient China and gets involved with Wan Yu and the Ten Rings. She eventually gets to Talo and
no, but first she meets the Mandarin. Don't forget.
Well, yeah,
that's Wenwu. That's Wenwu.
Wenwu. That's who I was referring to.
Oh, are we supposed to call him Wenwu now? Is that or is he?
That's
the
his name. Yeah.
He's
the Mandarin he mocked. He's just like, they named me after a chicken dish.
It's interchange. Like, to me, it doesn't make a difference, right?
No,
Talo and has a breakthrough emotionally, and is able to find balance in her life emotionally. Whereas
Hela,
before,
not Tallow.
Sorry,
you called Hela Tallow.
No, she went to.
Yeah, I know.
Talo.
Yeah,
I said before she went to. I said Hela.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Check the tape.
Right,
was able to find emotional balance to kind of cure or curb her bloodlust, and then eventually, as she returns to Earth from that realm, Odin, who could not find Hela, thought the worst and went to get revenge on the Mandarin. And
it was Heimdall who couldn't see her at first.
Yeah.
And they brought back Idris Elba just to do a couple lines. Like,
telephone. I honestly believe that it's either ADR or they're like, hey, just go into your closet and we're gonna show you a picture and you just say these lines.
Right, but like how we said, like there was no way they could get Anthony Hopkins to come back and do this. They got Jude Law, they got Idris Elba, like they got to come in.
I'm sorry. Idris Elba and Jude Law are in a totally different level than Anthony Hopkins. Right. Sir Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, I have to agree with Jaemeel there.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no Anthony Hopkins.
Retired from acting. Who retired from acting?
He's like 100.
He's like, I'm going to come back to do like 20 lines on this animated project I'm never going to watch.
Not even 20 lines. But yeah, so Hela basically becomes the goddess of light. Instead of the goddess of death, which is interesting. So that was an interesting twist on the character, and
I thought it was a fantastic episode.
Really like
that
Kate
version
Blanchett.
of her show up in one of these multiverse movies would be kind of fun.
Like, okay, I want to understand the timeline in what this story is, because when Hela gets banished to ancient China, what year is this roughly?
It just doesn't really matter. It's ancient China.
Like, is Thor already born or no?
No,
he's not born.
And
yet.
he's 2,000 years old, I believe, in the MCU. So it's like at least
3,000 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
Like who is Odin's wife, Thor's mom?
Frigga.
She in the story? Like I couldn't. Like
no, they referenced her. They referenced that he hooked up with her.
Yeah, like I just thought it was. I was just trying to understand what because I remember like from the Shang-Chi story and everything, like when Wu the Mandarin got these rings and he ruled China, but it was like thousands of years ago, and I don't know. I guess I was just like, I guess I'm always more into timelines and chronologies, and like I would have liked a little bit more understanding of where this was kind of fell. In the greater scheme, like because there's also the Eternals, of course, who we never really talk about, but they're in the mix. I
mean, what if's disregard for canon must upset you a little anyway?
Well, that's why I always loved What If, because I guess you got to be I want it to be canonical based on what you're riffing off of, right? But then go wild and do whatever you want.
But Dave, at the end of the day, we don't know what other elements also occurred in the universe if that one change happened.
True.
Right? So it's not to say necessarily that Odin made this decision. There could have been a prior situation that affected the Mandarin and also Odin at the same time. We don't know what that is, but I just, for the most part, I think it's like you have a loose trappings of the canon that you previously known, and it's malleable. It can be changed or moved however it needs to.
Yeah, and I guess it was, right? So I agree with you guys. I liked the story. I thought it was interesting to put these characters. I thought like Hela was more complex and interesting to me after this storyline was over compared to Thor Ragnarok, where she was kind of more of a mustache twirling villain. I thought, she was even more interesting here, and like her and the relationship with her and Odin, and that's why I was like, oh, but she had Anthony Hopkins here. I know he's not going to come.
Whoever did Anthony or Odin was pretty good though, because I liked the Hela
Jeff
version.
Bergman.
I cast you out speech where he's just like, may she know mercy, she can inherit the power of Hela. I thought that was interesting. And
then her crown is like Mjolnir, right? Like something that has to be worthy.
It's source of her power.
Yeah.
This one's number 3 for me. What say you guys?
Also number 3 for me.
I moved it up to number 2 and moved Christmas to 3.
All right. So Dave, tell us about the Avengers. What if the Avengers assembled in 1602?
Oh, I cannot wait to tell you.
Yeah. I think we all feel the same about this one. I wasn't sure.
I was okay. Like I didn't hate this, but it was sort of for me. I was never that interested in the 1602 comic book either. So I was like, oh, they're doing that. Okay. So this is about Captain Carter, really, like where she gets pulled into this other universe at the through the portal we saw her get sucked through from the Hydra Stomper story. So we're kind of picking up with that, and we're in this new world where it's basically the characters we know, but it's 1602. It's a different year.
That's what I never liked about the 1602 universe. It's just weird.
It would be like, what if Dave?
But it's not. It's like,
what if I was born in like 1540? I don't know, and I'm still me.
But it wouldn't be you, so it makes no sense. It's like, I don't like it.
Right? Like, so
actually, I'm gonna apologize to your favorite episode, Jaemeel. That's number 8 now. This is the worst.
Thank
I couldn't
you.
even get through this episode. I don't think I finished it. Or at
it
least I didn't pay
starts with a play, right? Okay, and this is why I got confused by it because Hela's there, right? And I thought, okay, this is the Hela we just saw in the Ten Rings story, right? But she's now assumed the throne of Asgard, and so is maybe this is the same world as that? Maybe. Okay, so
I'd buy that one.
Right?
What I got from this, and I'm confused too, I didn't care, which might be worse. I was under the impression that people were transported from different universes to 1602, and then they got transported back, like out of it.
Maybe
and they didn't know. Like
they didn't do a good job of explaining it. Whatever it was,
it's a terrible episode. In my opinion.
because this is why I asked you, was Thor born already when the stuff with Hela and Wenwu in the last story? Because like Hela's like in charge, and Thor's there, and Loki's there, and they're princes, but Odin's not there. Anyway, it's like a Shakespearean play that starts off the story. It's basically Loki doing Hamlet at the beginning. And then we see Captain Carter in the storyline. She gets pulled into the rift. She runs into the Watcher, who tells her that this is like a dying world. But she's not going to accept that, and she's going to try to save it. I don't know. What else happened in this story? I don't even know what to explain.
It doesn't matter.
Let's just rank this one and move on. This one's awful.
It's kind of like, it's just like, what if we gave like a medieval, like what if it was medieval world with our characters? It's, like, I don't understand the idea of it.
That's what most of these are, though. They're not like, what ifs are always, what if this crazy in-universe thing was different? That's not what these are. These are, what if Marvel was Die Hard? What if Marvel was like Robin Hood? Because the Happy Hogan character in that is totally the Sheriff of Nottingham, like 100%.
Yeah.
Like it's just Robin Hood,
but he can turn into the Freak.
Yeah, well, yeah, but he can turn into the Freak, and of course, Hawkeye. Who was it that was Robin Hood? One of them was Robin Hood. But anyway, I didn't need the Robin
No
Hood
Captain
Marvel
America?
thing.
Captain America was kind of like a Robin Hood character,
Yeah,
but then
yeah,
it
yeah.
turns out it's not really him, right? He's like some
Yeah.
kind of a vision or like something from the Time Stone.
Yeah.
Because
Let's not talk about this one
Yeah, this
anymore. Let's
episode's
just rank
terrible.
this
I
one.
think
and
I
move
need.
on.
I think
Number
I
9.
need. I think I need to move this down my rankings now that I'm thinking about it because, like,
Number 9.
It's number 8 for me.
I'm gonna put it. I'm moving it down to 8. I had it a little higher, but I don't like this one now that I'm thinking about it more like intently. So a couple of my other rankings have changed, but yeah, I would say that like this one it's more just a Peggy Carter story. It's more just an extension of the one we got from her previously that leads into the next story, and so it's just
which is
Number 9.
what if Strange Supreme intervened? So just like the last episode of last season, it's not really a what if at all. It's just wrapping up the season, all the storylines, and basically telling the story of Captain Carter, which is what these 2 seasons are. Which I'm fine with. In a theory, I like Captain Carter, but it's not really a what if series. This is like the Guardians of the Multiverse. But
right.
All right, so this one is the big showdown. Turns out the big bad the whole time is Strange Supreme. He's trying to resurrect his universe at the cost of all the other universes to finally be with Christine. She'll finally love him.
Because he had showed up at the end of the Kahori story, right? Like that was how that episode ended, where isn't Stephen Strange like, I'm here to nice to meet you or whatever, right? So
yeah. So he turns out to be the big bad. It ends up being it's no real big story here, but like Captain Carter and Kahori end up teaming up, which is cool. They're a fun combo. I like Kahori. I like Captain Carter. This one's not bad. But it's not much of a story. I mean, I like them 2 together, but I still think this comes in at like number 6 for me. So
It's number 9.
yeah.
I liked this more than you guys. I would actually put this at number 2.
Wow.
So
you like the big spectacle of characters. You like them throwing all these Avengers together. You like
sometimes I like the mixtures. I thought that like because I do respect what came before in terms of like they had set up here this version of Stephen Strange and this version of Peggy Carter knew each other from this Guardians of the Multiverse thing. They have almost like a rapport with each other, that's how the episode kind of starts, because he saves her from 1602 world, or he gets her out of there after she had saved that universe. And then the Watcher kind of shows up at one point because we find out that Stephen Strange is going throughout the multiverse, taking the universe killers, and then imprisoning them, which Captain Carter is approving of. But the Watcher kind of says, "Oh, I don't know if you're going to like what's going on here," because Stephen Strange wants her help in capturing. It turns out to be Kahori. I don't think we know that right away. And and the Watcher's like, "Are you just going to she's just like, "Are you just going to be there and narrate, or are you going to help or whatever?" But although he could give her more information about what's Doctor Strange is doing there. But I guess that's out of character for him, so he wouldn't do that.
Not for Uatu. Uatu breaks the rules all the time.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Uatu. Yeah. So I don't know. I did like the team up of Kahori. I guess if we were gonna have that Kahori episode, bringing her back in this way made complete sense. I thought her and Captain Carter were a good team. I think that the tragedy of this version of Stephen Strange and how he had consumed all those demons and other things previously, how that had really added up here. I
think he's the coolest character in all of these what ifs. Is Strange Supreme, well, and Captain Carter, but Strange Supreme is really cool, and I do think we'll see him show up in the MCU as well.
Yeah, and I think his performance is one of the best in terms of the people coming back to reprise the role. We like Justin Hammer, his version, where some of the other ones I guess Jon Favreau being at the bottom of that list, where I'm like, this Happy Hogan is not working for me.
But so Captain Carter and Kahori save the day. They stop Strange.
Yeah, and people complaining about Captain Carter was able to handle the stones without the major repercussions that Peter Quill and Tony Stark did. One, she's a super soldier. Two, she had the Killmonger Ultron armor majority of the time that she was wielding them. So and then 3, It's just a story.
She's Captain
Just
Carter,
get over
man.
it. It's just a story.
Peggy
Just
Carter.
get over it.
The Infinity Armor. The one thing that like my nitpick, I guess, would be like if like Tony Stark was killed by using it. Well, why?
Talk about this.
But you're
That's
wrong.
what the suit.
I'm
the
not.
suit
We also saw what it did to the Hulk when he used it. And all the gamma radiation. That
Because he snapped all of them at the same time. When she uses them, especially when she doesn't have the armor, she's only using one at a time.
Okay, but it's like Thanos should be able to do more than she can, right? So like because she's only human, she's not superhuman. Like,
Well, she is technically
not technically. She's not. She's only the peak potential of what a human can do.
Above peak.
No peak.
No,
Like
it's peak.
It's peak, but it's not above peak. Like she's not.
This debate was just going on just now. But.
Yeah.
Well, look, it's there's what they say and there's the reality. It's supposed to be peak, but the feats that Captain America does are so beyond that all the time. Like it's just like
you don't see any person jumping out of like an elevator like he does in Winter Soldier, right? And like lands on the shield.
But it's not just peak because he has a healing factor and a pretty friggin' good one. So
he heals faster too, but not as fast as like
fast.
Wolverine or anything superhuman like that, right? Like so it's I don't know. Like it's a nitpick. It's sort of
peak human debate came up when people were comparing Captain America and Batman and
like Captain America would be technically better off than Batman, right? Like because he's got the super soldier serum, so
definitely he's not lame. Well, we did it, fellas.
We did it.
What if season 2?
Can you rank your order? I have my order ranked down.
I have mine too.
Yep, go for it. Fire it down.
So first one is Nebula Nova Corp. Second was Hela 10 Rings. Third was Happy Hogan Saved Christmas. 4 is Kahori. 5 is Peter Quill Attacks Earth Mightiest Heroes. 6 Captain Carter Hydra Stomper. 7 is Crash into the Grandmaster with Iron Man. 8th is 1602. And 9 is Strange Supreme Intervened. Yeah.
We agreed on a couple of those, Jaemeel. So but not vastly different on other ones. I'll give you mine. At number 1, I got the Peter Quill story, like the 80s Avengers. At number 2, the Strange Supreme, the finale of this series or season. Number 3, the Hela story and the 10 Rings. Number 4 was the Kahori. Number 5, I have the Captain Carter Hydra Stomper story. Number 6, Nebula joined the Nova Corps. Number 7, the Iron Man Grandmaster story. At number 8, the Avengers assembled in 1602. And at number 9, Happy Hogan Saved Christmas.
I'll go. Number 1's Nebula. Number 2 is Kahori. Number 3 is Hela. Number 4 is Peter Quill Attack Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Number 5. Now it starts to get stinky.
Yeah.
Oh wow. What if Strange intervened, I guess. Then Iron Man. Then Happy Hogan, and then number 9 is 1602. I just couldn't get through.
So overall, Hela 10 Rings is the top one consensus. Yeah.
I have it at number 3. You also had it at number 3, Jaemeel. And
I had number 2.
You had it at number 2. So like we all consistently liked that one. I think that that one. Yeah. And I think
because Dave's such an outlier with that Nebula episode. Just such an outlier.
It's okay.
Well, me in the Happy Hogan episode too.
Yeah, right? It's true.
Yeah, that one we're most divided on.
Yeah.
So you guys wanted overall, let's do a quick little ranking for the entire season as a whole. Bring this in.
6.
Davin's giving a 6. Okay. Okay, Jaemeel.
I'll give it a 7.3.
7.3 from Jaemeel. I just want to see what I gave season 1. So I gave 6.5 to season 1.
I gave it a 9.
7.5.
Wow. I liked this less, so I'm gonna go a 6, I guess. And
There
so
we
we're
go.
averaging at 6.4. Nothing. I guess it's okay. Is what we're where we're netting out here. So something to keep in mind as we progress here.
Yeah.
And just
Well,
a
that's
shout
it.
out to the creative team, Brian Andrews and Stephen Frank, who are the directors of all of these episodes. A lot of different writers, but mostly that fell to Matthew Chauncey, AC Bradley, and Ryan Little is the main team who brought this to us. So and apparently to Murphy's point, there was a Red Guardian centered episode that was going to also have Bucky Barnes, Bill Foster, and Ranger Morales. So, but they cut it from they cut it from the season, so it's apparently going to be thrown into season
3.
It will be in the season 3, instead.
All right. Well,
and to
we
Murphy's
have a
point,
united federation of podcasts. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Will we get a Peggy Carter rewatch series? That's a tall.
I like that show.
I did like that show.
No, the answer is no. But
the answer is no. But I never watched it. So
what?
No,
it was good.
Did you watch
Agents of Shield? Was good too.
Definitely not,
bro.
I wouldn't read an Agents of Shield comic book either. So
just watch it for the train episode where the buddy calls the cavalry Melinda May sweetheart. It's worth watching.
I think some of the stuff that they did, especially the Hydra twist, I thought was pretty well done. I liked a lot of those things. So
it's just not my kind of genre. I think.
Did you see all the Netflix series?
Like what? Like Daredevil?
Daredevil.
I watched some of them. Jessica Jones worked. I watched Jessica Jones and Luke Cage. I didn't really watch Iron Fist.
It's fine.
Daredevil.
I didn't hate it as much as a lot of people, but Iron Fist isn't great.
Punisher was the hardest one for me to watch.
Oh, you watched Punisher?
Yeah, I never watched Punisher, and what was the one that they teamed up? What was that?
Defenders.
Defenders. I was watching that, and then I fell off. I was like, I don't like this anymore, so I stopped watching.
It's canon. It's canon. You need to watch it now.
I thought Sigourney Weaver. And all
well, that's good. They were good shows, except for Iron Fist. It sucks that he's now the MCU's Danny Rand, but whatever. They're moving on.
I disagree that the hate that Iron Fist gets should be directed towards Punisher, which I think was.
Punisher
a lot worse. Punisher is just
almost it was a fantastic show.
Oh no,
Punisher was great, man.
It's basically grunting and spitting for majority of the series and saying what Badali. That's the dialogue for it. I didn't even watch season 2. I couldn't stomach it anymore.
All right, well, let's wrap this up, fellas. I gotta go parent.
We have a federation of podcasts.
We do. Where we have more Marvel content. We got X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show over there. We're talking about the X-Men movie that was never made with the writer of the script, Bob Skier, on Tuesday. So check that out. Graphic Histories podcast. Great interviews. Just interviewed Alex Robinson. Next one's with Michael T. Gilbert, the creator of Mr. Monster. And there's also Eamon on Track, reviewing albums over there. Him and André just talked about something.
They did.
Can't remember what. I don't know. Some hipster album. I don't know. Super Mater Brothers podcast, which is pretty much what we're doing here.
Yeah, this channel. But our other stuff like Survivor or Big Brother, check it out.
Yeah. And Hold Up a Movie podcast will be out next week with our video game episode. So check that out.
Who's on that one?
We're actually going to rewatch Double Dragon from the 90s.
I have a lot of feelings about that movie.
The guy who was on the wrestling Trivial Debates. Speaking of which, Trivial Debates. Yeah, check that out as well. And of course, our multiple and varied Star Trek content, which you should check out for sure.
You got a question here from Sam. Would we like a what if series for Star Trek? I would.
No. That's
you wouldn't want
the mirror universe is. It's awful. It's awful. The mirror universe is. It sucks. Go watch them. They're there for you. Go watch Mirror Barile and then ask yourself that question. Okay.
Look,
all right.
Well, that's just one scenario.
That's the homework. That's the homework tonight.
Honestly, what if does exist for Star Trek? It is some of the novels.
Kelvin universe.
Just enjoy the novels. You can pick and choose what you want. I'd rather them spend more energy in making actual content that moves forward as opposed to just kind of delving back
alternate timelines and alternate realities.
No time for it.
Yeah, you can only do so much of that. But
And of course, the Hellbound podcast. That was Blackburn, Michael Chan. So let's get out of here, fellas.
Happy belated birthday, Michael Chan.
What if we ended the show right now?
What if we did?
That's a great one.
Let's find
Maybe
out.
we will.
Oh, we'll be back for Echo. Check us on Echo when we talk about that.
Yeah, we'll be back very soon. Quick turnaround on Echo, which is better than this. Spoiler alert. All right. Bye.
No, it's not. All right.
Oh my controversy. Tune up for Echo. It's going to be fiery. Bye.
I've been looking for you for a long time. Time. Just be careful. I don't think I can bear to narrate what might happen next.
Darcy, we got a code red. The Avengers Tower's been overtaken.
On Christmas? What is this, Con Air? No, wait, Under Siege? No. Oh, that's not it.
Hey, John McClane, focus!